Hey, shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ, bless. Happy Tuesday. How you doing, officer? You doing all right today?
Doing pretty good, sir.
Doing
Pretty good.
pretty good
Yeah,
today.
ready to go.
Ready to go? All right, all right. We're gonna continue on with the class with the pillars of marriage. Finish it up. Last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? How
Yeah,
long ago? 2 weeks?
yeah. I think it was 2 weeks.
A couple of weeks ago. We did the first part. Today we're gonna finish up the second part. We talked about in the first one. We talked about communication, right? We talked about communication. I think we talked about that thing pretty thoroughly.
Yeah.
We talked about communication. Anything else you want to add to communication in marriage, man? Any other thoughts as you reflect on communication? Sometimes I watch a class or I do a class. I be like, man, I wish I would have had said this or went to that precept. Any thoughts on that?
Nah, just we can't state enough how important communication is. You know what I'm saying? That's the foundation for everything.
Yeah. Let's go to James. We'll go to James right quick. We got Bo, Soldier Boat over there reading for us. Appreciate you, sir. You doing all right this week? You have a good week?
So far, yes, sir.
So far. It's we only like what, 2 days
Tuesday.
in? Yes, two. Say it again. How you say it?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah, they said something like that.
God.
Yeah, it was something in there. Tuesday. Yeah, it's the third day of the week. The third day. They tried to get me. All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 10. Let's start at verse 1.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 1.
Yeah.
Dead flies cause the anointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savor, so that a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honor.
Go ahead.
A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart at his left.
Mm.
Yea, also, when he that is a fool walketh by the way, his wisdom faileth him, and he said to everyone that he is a fool.
He said to everyone that he is a fool. Talking. It's the communication and yielding your tongue in marriage is important, right? Let's jump down to verse 12. Jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious,
Mm-hmm.
but the lips of a fool would swallow up himself.
The lips of a fool will swallow up himself. In marriage, in the communication, sometimes it's okay to hold your tongue. It's okay to stop, think about what you want to say. Read on.
Verse 13. The beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness,
Mm-hmm.
and the end of his talk is mischievous
Mhm.
madness. A fool also is full of words. A man cannot tell what shall be, and what shall be after him. Who can tell him?
Who can tell him? So when you're talking, you're just running off at the mouth. It's not good in marriage. You know what I'm saying? Communication, sometimes you can say less. Sometimes say a little bit less. James. Let's go to James right quick. I think this is another one we hit. We hit, James 3. James chapter 3 and verse 5. Just kind of recapping a little bit some of the stuff we talked about in the pillars of marriage. Go ahead.
This is the book of James, chapter 3 and verse 5.
Yeah.
Even so the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth.
Mm-hmm.
And the tongue is a fire, a word of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body,
Yeah.
and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell.
So the tongue, even though it's a small member, right, it could cause the whole body, right? You and your wife now, one flesh. You can't get control of your tongue, you ain't gonna see no peace in your life. No peace.
Two things you can't get back is a bullet once it's fired, and a word once you speak it.
Okay. Put this one up here now. Yeah, just take this.
Yeah, you just gotta choose. You just gotta choose your words. Like Cap said, sometimes it's best not. Sometimes not saying anything is saying a lot. You know what I'm saying? You can't listen with your mouth open. You know what I'm saying? You close your mouth and your ears open up.
That's true. That's true. One of my favorites again, Hebrews 13 and 16. Hebrews 13 and 16.
Hebrews chapter 13, and verse 16.
Yeah.
But to do good and to communicate, forget not. For which such sacrifices God is well pleased.
I was talking to a brother about this the other day. It say, for with such sacrifices, God is well pleased. Inside of a marriage sometimes, right, what can happen is when resentment is built up, you can start giving each other the silent treatment. Right? Let's read that scripture again.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 16.
Yeah.
But to do good and to communicate, forget not.
I'm mad at you, though. I don't want to talk to you. I don't have nothing to say to you. Go ahead.
For which such sacrifices.
So what would make it a sacrifice? Is it a sacrifice when it's all good and y'all just talking, everything's hunky-dory? That's not much of a sacrifice. When does the sacrifice happen? When you're mad, when you're frustrated, when you got to lower those walls of resentment, let your guard down a little bit to get in there to try to figure out what the problem is. That's where the sacrifice comes in. We read the scripture and say, with such sacrifice. We just read right past that part. With such sacrifice. What are you sacrificing if the only time you communicating is when everything else is all good? You know what I'm saying? That makes sense what I'm saying? That makes sense what I'm saying. I don't know.
Sometimes, like as a husband, sometimes you focusing on work, making ends meet. You might not even see something.
Yeah.
And then a woman just over there mad grilling you. Mad grilling you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's wrong? And then you get the nothing.
Some of that silent treatment.
Some of that side eye and silent treatment. Cold soup.
Dang.
For dinner.
Dang.
Yeah. That's all bad.
That's all bad.
That's why it's important that sacrifice. You got to communicate.
Yep. How do you sacrifice if everything is good, though? You know what I'm saying? You're not really sacrificing if the only time, if you communicate and everything else is good. You got to say, when times is hard, when am I going to make the sacrifice to actually communicate through this? When am I going to be the one to be, what they say in the world, the bigger person? Somebody got to be the bigger person to break down this resentment cycle that we seem to be in. These walls of incommunication we have developed. You'll develop them. You know what I'm saying? You'll get into the marriage and you'll be treating the other person like you think they treating you in order to make them see how messed up they are. Then you just go in this circle of hate and frustration. Come on, go say it on the mic, man.
Railing for railing.
Railing for railing. Some of that. Let's go to First Peter. Go ahead.
And that railing could be silence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's look it up. Here we go. We'll throw it out. We'll throw it off the deep end real quick. Let's get railing. Railing for railing. Communicate. It say, I like that scripture. It say, for with such sacrifice, God is well pleased. I was like, how do you sacrifice communicate? How do you actually do it? You know what I'm saying? Oh, there you go. Look at that one. Verb 2. To revile or scold in harsh, insolent, or abusive language. Mm-hmm. Ooh-wee.
In the King James Bible dictionary, it says to utter reproaches, to scoff, to use insolent and reproachful language, to reproach or censor in I don't even know how to pronounce that word.
Let me see it. Opprobrious.
Opprobrious. There you go. That is not a Negro word. Opprobrious terms followed by at or against, formerly by on. There you go.
All praises. So railing for railing, abusive, insolent, opprobrious. All right. So last one. Let's go to. Let's not go to that. But communication was one of the first pillars we looked at, right? Communication. All right. Another pillar that we looked at was intimacy, right? Intimacy, right? Let's look at that one. Let's go to what was the one we liked, man? We stayed on that one for a minute.
Proverbs 5.
Proverbs 5. Let's see what that one is. Maybe it was it. Proverbs 5 and 18. Is that the one?
Yes, sir.
No, we just went into that one for a minute.
Proverbs chapter 5 and verse 18.
Yeah.
Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth.
Uh-huh.
Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breasts satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love.
There you go. I mean, there you go, man. There you go. You know what I'm saying? That's how you're supposed to do it. Intimacy is important in marriage, right? You got to maintain that intimacy. Sometimes, right? You know what I'm saying? We got kids in the room. But sometimes you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it because what happens is you might have some barriers of communication happening. And when you can break through those barriers, then the communication gets even better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually like you now. You know what I'm saying? I forgot how much I liked you. I'm all right.
Oh, this is what you wanted.
I can't. I don't know how to put it into words.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how you put it in words. Help me out, Ezra. Say something crazy. I don't know.
Nah. Sometimes that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta go. You gotta take it there.
You gotta take it there. But
with you gotta bring the thunder.
Bring the thunder.
Then you get some hot soup.
Then you get some hot soup instead of the cold soup. Got it. Let's go to that. Let's go to that scripture. Hebrews. Let's go to Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 4.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4.
Yeah.
Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled.
You gotta make it clear, man. The bed is undefiled. The Lord wanted you to know. You gotta get it in. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to find the right words. I don't want to say nothing inappropriate, but it's just like you when you are intimate with your spouse, communication flows better, information flows better. Y'all on the same page, y'all connected. You know what I'm saying? It's important, man. You brothers, man, that's married and struggling with lust and pornography as well, right? Make sure that you break that cycle, right? You got to break that cycle because you want to be connected to your wife. You want to be connected to your wife. And when you do stuff like that, even sisters, if that's what you're doing, right? That connection, that bond won't be as strong. You know what I'm saying? Just won't be. So those was the first two pillars we looked at, right? Intimacy and communication. Anything else you want to say on that? Anything else?
Let's go back to verse 16. This is for the verse 16 when it says this is for the men. So we read last week about in Ephesians where it says two shall leave their parents and they become one. And the thing about sacrifice, again, as a leader of your household, for you to sacrifice, that doesn't equate to simp. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That doesn't equate to simp. For you to sacrifice your time, right, to ensure your wife is on track for whatever she needs, spiritually, physically, and mentally, your sacrifice for your children, all that sacrifice goes both ways. So understand that you sacrificing in any way, shape, or form to build a healthy household, a healthy family, that's a good thing in the eyes of the Lord. That doesn't equate to simp.
All praises. Let's go back.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 16.
Yeah.
But to do good and to communicate, forget not, for which such sacrifices God is well pleased.
God is well pleased. All right. So communication, intimacy, we talked about those two. We're going to move into the next two pillars, right? And it is kind of like a pillar and a half. I don't know if it's really two, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? But those things will be love and God, right? Which is kind of one and the same, right? We'll look at this scripture right quick. Let's go to 1 John chapter 4, verse 8, right? 1 John chapter 4, verse 8.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 4 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
He that loveth not, knoweth not God, for God is love.
See that? See, God is love. So you can't have one without the other. It's like a pillar, two pillars in one. You know what I'm saying? An extra strong pillar. You gotta have the love, but it's impossible for us to have love if we don't know God. And it's let's just get it. Let's go to John 14:15. I got a lot to say on this one. Everybody's favorite precept, John 14:15.
John chapter 14 and verse 15.
Yep.
If ye love me, keep my commandments.
So Christ said, if you love him, you keep the commandments, right? And I just said God is love. Oh, we just read the precept that says that. The difficult thing is with my sisters, right? I'm gonna kind of pick on y'all a little bit. At the beginning of the Bible, right, when Adam and Eve was doing their thing at the beginning, what happened, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 3. Let's look at this. Let's start at verse 4.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
So the key part in verse 4 and 5, specifically verse 5, is when it says, and ye shall be as gods. You shall be as gods. This is the serpent talking to Eve, right? The devil is talking to Eve. Why would that trigger a thought in Eve's mind? Ye shall be as gods. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 11. 1 Corinthians 11. Why would that trigger a thought in Eve's mind? I wanna go against what God said, because what the serpent has now said to me. Let's read 1 Corinthians 11, and we'll read verse good old 3.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3.
Yeah.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God.
So the woman in the beginning, when she heard ye shall be as gods, she didn't think to herself, me and my husband gonna be like gods. She didn't think that. She said, how do I ascend past my husband and be as gods? Be as a god. I'm going to say something to my sisters. I don't know if y'all going to like to hear it, but it's a natural competitive nature inside of sisters with God. They want to be in charge of everything. In charge of you as if they are God. Let's go to it. Let's go back to Genesis. I ain't making it up. Genesis chapter 3. Let's read verse 5 again.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 5. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
So when the Spirit said this, and Eve heard it, did she say, no, I'm good in the place where I'm at? We all know she didn't say that, but let's just read on.
Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food.
You see that? She said, this is a tactic I can use here. Go ahead.
And that it was pleasant to the eyes.
I have convinced myself that I can utilize what this serpent is saying to ascend above my husband and now compete to be on the level with God. Go ahead.
And a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof.
Yeah, see that? She was like, you know what? If this is what I got to do, this is what I'm going to do. And see, sisters might say, you know what? I don't think that. I'm going to tell y'all how y'all sisters think this. Well, I won't say every sister. I don't know. Most sisters, shoot, I'm going to say this. Most women want you to be honest, faithful to them. Does that make sense? Honest and faithful to them. For them, because of them. It's impossible. It's impossible. It is impossible for a man to be what he's supposed to be completely as a husband without God. He can't. He cannot be that. I've said this to y'all before. I know me, before I was married in the world, I would think about getting married to a woman and figuring out how I'm gonna cheat on her at the same time. Like I'm gonna marry her, right? And then I'm gonna have a bat phone. You know what I'm saying? I keep the phone over here and the battery over here. Then when I ain't with my wife, then I bring them together. You know what I'm saying? That was me. I don't know. I'm not saying y'all brothers was like that. Maybe I was just wicked as hell. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But I would think about ways to get around being completely honest and faithful and transparent before I was keeping the commandments of God. It's impossible for a man to just do that wholeheartedly. Like I said, I'm not trying to speak for everybody else. Let me know, Azrael. Let me know if I'm crazy. Let me know if I'm crazy, man.
You're right. You're right. If if you're not rooted in this Bible, you're not going to be faithful, right? Like you read Job 1. You read Job 1. The devil's walking around. God asked the devil, "Where you coming from?" He said, "Walking to and fro amongst the earth." You know what I'm saying? Looking to get into something. So he always tapping on the door.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He's always tapping on the door, like it says in 1 Peter. You know what I'm saying? Seeking souls to devour. He got Eve from the beginning.
Yep.
He ain't gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna stop. He's not gonna stop. He's gonna whatever crevice he can get into the man's head or the woman's head. You know what I'm saying? If your feet ain't rooted solidly in this Bible, you're gonna trip and fall.
Let's go to Psalms chapter 1 and verse 1. And like we was talking about with the intimacy, right, and the communication, those things lead back to you being grounded, right? But it's still not enough. Come on, let's look at Psalms chapter 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 1 and verse 1.
Yeah.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
So the only way for a man to be blessed is if he's not walking in the counsel of the ungodly. Everything we do outside of keeping the commandments of God is going to be walking in the counsel of ungodly. If you listen, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to lay it back. Because he said, because soon as you walk out that door and head to your workplace, you got to remember who you are and what you're here for. Because I'm telling you, where I work at, as soon as I walk out, it's on and popping.
It's on and popping.
People talking crazy.
You just trying to do your job, and there's people in there doing all type of madness around you.
Madness, you know, they want to talk sports. They want to talk what they seen on the internet. They want to talk about what they like. You see this? You know what I'm saying? Like it's on. Come on in here, eat this. You're in a battle. Soon you step out your house. That's why you got to be rooted in this thing, or you will get caught up.
Yeah. I mean, just being in the circle of normal black men, that's what the normal life is about. Trying to find out where the hose is at. Like, that's what we do. That's what Negroes is doing, man. There's no nice way to say it. I don't know what sisters is talking about all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, brothers in the world, that's what they talking about. You can be 15. You can be 55. The conversation is the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's go to the scripture. I ain't making this stuff up, man.
This is a book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 25 and verse 2.
Yeah.
3 sorts of men my soul hated, and I'm greatly offended at their life. A poor man that is proud, a rich man that is a liar, and an old adulterer that doteth.
An old adulterer that doted. These are the type of men that that exist without the commandments of God. You either gonna fall into one of these categories, right? A poor man that is proud, a bum, right? So you get that man that's not keeping the commandments. He a bum, right? It says, what else? A rich man that is a liar. Now you got this dude that's scheming, lying all the time, trying to find a way to manipulate whatever situation. Or you got an adulterer. These are the type of men that exist outside of the Bible. It's no other. This is whatever you thought you was before you was keeping the commandments. You probably fell into one of these categories in some sort of fashion. What's up?
I know a few old adulterers.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got a partner. He his motto is somebody turn 21 every day. I'm like, if you don't sit your old butt down some damn where.
Oh my God!
He's still trying. He's got daughters older than some of the broads he messed with.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is.
But these are the cycles or the type of men that exist. This is the type of things you're gonna find without keeping the commandments of God. It's no woman that's so beautiful that it's just gonna make a man just be like, you know what? Just because the way you look, I'm just gonna be like, I'm telling you, at some point, the makeup comes off. You know what I'm saying? The how Bishop say, the breasts come down to the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like all those different things start to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Go. What you gonna say?
Nah, I'm saying if you're not rooted in the Bible again, like if you're not as a man, if you're not rooted in the Bible, and sisters understand this, that a man's as faithful as his options.
Dang.
Right. I mean, if that man is not rooted in this Bible, he's as faithful as his options.
Faithful as his options.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Psalms 1.
Psalms chapter 1 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly.
So the counsel of the ungodly is even TV, right? Social media, music. That's all we hear. It's no stuff that's like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I won't say it's none, but it's the majority of what's out there in the world is that. You know what I'm saying? Ungodly men trying to figure out how to sleep with as many women as possible. That's what's out there. Go ahead.
Nor standeth in the way of sinners,
Mm-hmm.
nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Come on.
But his delight is in the law of the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
and in his law doth he meditate day and night.
So if he meditate in the law day and night, go ahead.
And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water.
It's nothing that's going to shake him. That's what you want, sisters. You want a man, there's nothing's going to shake them. They going to stay committed to the marriage between you and God because they fear God. Not because you look so beautiful and you smell like honey. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what's going to do it. Read that again.
And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season.
In this season. That don't mean that he not going to get upset, frustrated, whatever it might be inside of that marriage, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
His leaf also shall not wither,
His leaf won't wither.
and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
And that's what you want. You want to, whatever he going to do to prosper. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be always bringing doubt into the brother's mind. You got to support him. You keeping the commandments of God, honey, guess what? That's going to prosper. I'm going to support you. That's going to prosper. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes brothers might have crazy ideas. I don't know. I ain't saying telling if they tell you to give them the soup for free and rent them spoons. I'm not telling you that'll work. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Let's go back to this. Where I'm at. We at Sirach 25 and 1.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25 and verse 1.
Yeah.
In 3 things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before God and men.
Mm-hmm.
The unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together.
A man and a wife that agree together. So how is it that you get to the place of agreement? Like, how do you get to that place of agreement inside of marriage? And it's funny, man, because, sisters always say they want a godly man. But what does that look like to them? When they see or think, I want a godly man, what do they think that looks like? They think it looks like just some dude they can just run over and tell to do whatever.
Looks like the deacon sitting in the front of that pulpit, white shoes, pimp hat.
But what's his attributes outside of his foolish apparel? What does he look like?
I don't know.
What does a godly man look like, right? For our sisters, I don't think y'all have a clue what y'all asking for when y'all say, I want a godly man. Let's go to Exodus. Where is that, Bola? The Lord is a man of...
Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3. The Lord is a man of war.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord is his name.
The Lord is his name. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. So that's what Christ is, right? That's what the Lord is. He's a man of war. So if you're looking for a godly man, you're going to be looking for a man of war. Does that mean just be running around with a ninja stars all over the house and doing karate kicks, roundhouses all over the house? Is that what it looks like? Let's go. Let's go to this. What's up? You want to say something?
Get what a man is in the Kings, chapter 2. So, a real man, like we read in Psalms, chapter 1, right? Is that man that's like a tree rooted near the river, right? Near the water, getting that everlasting, that life that in which water brings, the water of this Bible, right?
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 2 and verse 2. I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and shew thyself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself.
So, you sisters, that's what your man should look like. Somebody who's walking in God's judgments, testimonies, and keeping the commandments and statutes, right? Because if he can't lead you in prayer, he can't lead your household, right? If he's not doing these things, he can't lead a household. Sooner or later, here comes the devil, and he gonna get you.
So this is the thing. This is the thing, right? So we talking about the Lord is a man of war, right? And brothers and sisters, they might have just got married, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 4, right? Because sisters, I'm aware of the scriptures y'all like to pull when y'all like to pull them. I know what y'all say. I know what y'all be thinking.
Deuteronomy chapter 25 and verse 5.
Verse 5. Watch what this is the one they hit him with. See? Watch. Here it comes. If
brethren dwell together and one of them die.
No, that's not it, man. Deuteronomy 25. Is it 24? Okay.
Deuteronomy.
Okay. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 5.
Yeah.
When a man had taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war.
See that?
Neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year, and he shall cheer up his wife which he had taken.
Go ahead, Ezra. Look, that's the one they hit you with, right? We just got married. You supposed to spend a year at home with me. See that? You gotta stay home with me for a whole year. You can't do nothing. How I'm supposed to eat? I'm supposed to feed you. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to this scripture. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. They use that scripture right there. Be like, you ain't supposed to do nothing. See, you know what I'm saying? Get what they call it, convalescent leave or something. I don't know.
You always at the school.
Always at the school.
Why you gotta go to men's conference?
Why you gotta do that? The Lord said you got married. You supposed to spend a year at home. Let's see what the scriptures say.
2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4.
Yeah.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God, through the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
That's it. It say, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. When we was looking at what was going on in Deuteronomy, right, they was actually going out and having a carnal war. They was out there fighting. That's not what we into at this point. We're not having a carnal war. And the thing that's very different, like I just told Azariah, the thing that's very different in comparison to what was going on in Deuteronomy, in comparison to what's going on today. Let me ask the brothers, what do y'all see as different? What you got, Mac? Any thought? What do you think is different in comparison to what we was looking at in Deuteronomy, in comparison to the war that we fighting today?
Shalom, leadership.
Hey, shalom, bro.
Everything's more spiritual.
Okay, all right. I wouldn't say that's wrong. What you got, Dave? Let's see, Dave. What you got?
Shalom leadership.
Hey, shalom, sir.
The mission was different. They were being led by God to take over the land, the promised land,
In comparison to what now?
in comparison to us being in captivity and waiting for God to come and save us.
Okay. Warmer. What you got? What you got, B?
Hey, shalom, sir.
Hey, shalom.
Yeah, I mean, back then they were just pretty much, they were not, back then they were probably more dependent. I think they had more belief in the Most High back then than they do now. Like now, a lot of people need more tangible things instead of, exercising that faith muscle. I think they had more faith back then than we do now.
Yeah, your faith would definitely be different if you actually like saw God and saw the Red Sea split, and you know what I'm saying. Your faith might be a little different, but yeah, it was kind of warm, right? But the difference that I was really picking up on in comparison to what was going on in Deuteronomy to what we're looking at now, to what's going on now is that we are born behind enemy lines. We born into this fight. We born into this war. I didn't wake up and say I want to go be born in Oak Cliff around the corner from a crack house. You know what I'm saying? I was born into that war to fight my way out of that. You know what I'm saying? It's completely different. We're born into this war. We got to fight our way out. If we don't fight our way out of this, what are we going to do? We just going to sit here and just die? You know what I'm saying? Let's look at that Deuteronomy again. You have something you want to add, Andre? No? Born behind enemy lines.
Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 5. When a man had taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war.
You see that? He's not behind enemy lines at this point. He going out to war. He didn't say he wake up and he's surrounded by all type of atrocities and tragedies and all this different stuff that's happening. It's a completely different scenario. Go ahead.
Neither shall he be charged with any business.
Neither shall he be charged with any business. We had our own stuff. If we don't do the business we got to do, that's what I'm saying. Why is it always just, you know what it is? It's just the stuff you got to do for the body. It ain't you can't go to work and pay the bills. It ain't you can't take the trash out. It ain't you can't whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? It's the stuff you got to do for the body. Don't do that. Read on.
Neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year.
Free at home 1 year. We'll be all homeless at that point, unless you want to be a squatter. I don't know. Unless you want to be got squatters' rights in San Diego.
Tabernacling.
Yeah, you want to be tabernacling under the 94 freeway. You know what I'm saying?
So I said there's a bunch of people downtown tabernacling right now, surrounding the post office.
Tabernacling as we speak. You know what I'm saying? So it's a natural, I think the point I was making at the beginning is that it's a natural, innate competition inside of our sisters between them and God. You know, you're not like sisters. If you want a godly man, that's what we was looking at, right? What makes a man a godly man? How do you identify a godly man? Let's go to this one. Let's go to, we looked at 1 Corinthians. Let's go to Psalm 78. Psalm 78, verse 5.
Psalms chapter 78 and verse 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children.
So also being a godly man is being a father, teaching your children things, right? I see so often, right, people just okay with their children just growing up on cartoons and freaking, I don't know, social media. I don't know what they be doing with their dang on kids. Like, your kid is slow. You know what I'm saying? It's not that smart. Like, what are you doing with them? You know what I'm saying? You got to do some stuff with the kid. You know what I'm saying? You got to read with them. You got to teach them some 1 + 1, how to count on your fingers, how to spell your name. You know what I'm saying? You got to do these things. These things show you what a godly man is, right? Deuteronomy 7:6, I believe it is, or 6 and 7. Yeah, give me that one, 6 and 7.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 7.
Yeah.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children,
Mm-hmm.
and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house,
Mm-hmm.
and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
When I lies down and when I rise up, you're supposed to be teaching your children. You got to be teaching them things. Some lessons are hard. Some lessons are easy. But you should be teaching them things. Sometimes you got to teach them hard lessons. You don't want them to forget them. You got to apply a little bit more pressure to those lessons. But that's what it looks like to be married to a godly man. You shouldn't just be sitting around being a bum. Shouldn't be lying. Shouldn't be cheating. Right? And these are all things we think can happen with the absence of the Bible. Right? Sisters think these things can happen with the absence of the Bible. They cannot happen with the absence of the Bible. It's not possible. You're not going to find a godly man. It's impossible. If he was a liar, a cheater, and he holding the Bible, oh, man, you need to run 2 times. You know what I'm saying? Run 2 blocks away. You know what I'm saying? What's up? Go ahead, Azariah.
Go to Sirach chapter 4 verse 10, because I want to, because you know a lot of times nowadays that we have nuclear families. You know what I'm saying? You know, either the husband comes in with a child from a previous marriage,
Yeah.
or the rib has a child from the previous marriage,
Yep.
right? And if you're gonna be a godly man, right, you got to accept the whole package,
Yep.
right? You just can't be a husband to the wife. You got to be a father to the fatherless,
Yep.
right? Read that.
Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 4 and verse 10. Be as a father unto the fatherless,
And be a mother unto the motherless,
Yep.
right? Read.
and instead of an husband unto their mother.
So you ain't just here to get broke off both ways. You just ain't here because like I like this chick, but you know, but he got little Billy with him. Go sit down somewhere, little Billy. I'm dealing with your moms or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a father to the fatherless or a mother to the motherless. Read.
So shalt thou be as the son of the Most High,
And when you do this, it's gonna reflect, right? Read.
and he shall love thee more than thy mother doth.
So there you go. So I just want to, because a lot of times we talking about marriage, but a lot of times these marriages now they come with they come with I don't want to say baggage because that's definitely the wrong word.
Yeah.
But the people be coming
A
with
little extra.
little extra, and you got to take the whole package.
Yep.
The whole package. You just can't. He ain't mine, so she ain't mine. I ain't dealing with that sucker. That don't really work, man. It really don't work.
You're gonna build resentment.
That's
gonna
where
build
I was gonna go.
resentment.
Yup. It's gonna cause conflict in the relationship.
Yeah.
It always does. It's never gonna go away. That mother is gonna love that child, even though it's not your. And you're gonna love if it's your son or daughter. You ain't gonna take none of that crap.
But see, even inside of that, man, what'll happen? Don't mute the mic. Hold on. Even inside of that, man, what happens with some people, especially if they grew up kind of only child. So I don't know. Everybody got their own personality. Let me not say only child. But it's a natural. I won't say natural neither. But they might be competitive with the child.
Why?
You know what I'm saying? Competitive with the child. You competing for the spouse for time with the child.
An adult competing with a child. That's crazy.
It happens. I seen it.
It's crazy.
I've seen it. I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, if y'all can get married young in the truth and not have to deal with none of that stuff, man, lucky you. All praise.
Lucky you.
Lucky you. Let's go to Genesis chapter 29, verse 20.
Genesis chapter 29 and verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her.
For the love he had for her. Because what else comes with a godly man is a man that's patient, right? A man that's clear on what he knows, what he wants. And it's going to take some time to get to it. Patience. That's what a godly man looks like. What's the one in 1 Corinthians? 1 Corinthians. You want to talk about this one too, officer. 1 Corinthians 6, right? Is that it? Temperate.
1 Corinthians 9.
9:25.
No, I got dyslexia. 6. When I say 6, I mean 9. You know what I'm saying? My bad.
9:25, being temperate
When I say
in all
Galatians,
things.
I mean Ephesians. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 25. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible.
Go ahead, Austin. You want to say that?
Yeah, so you got to be patient. You got to have understanding. You got to have empathy. You definitely got to, like we talked about in Sirach 36 the other day, you also got to set the boundaries on what will and will not be allowed. Make no mistakes about it. But you got to be tempered and understand that, again, like I said last week, hills come with valleys. You know what I'm saying? Sirach 2 tells you you are definitely going to go through something, right? You're definitely going to go through something. Lord will, it won't be too bad, but you ain't walking in the truth, and if you ain't getting touched up a little bit, well, you might want to do some self-evaluation.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to be tempered in all things, master. You're the leader. You're the captain of this ship, right? So you got to understand, like you got to put a little forethought in some stuff.
Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 4 verse 29. 1 Kings chapter 4 verse 29. Just came to my mind when you were speaking.
1 Kings chapter 4 and verse 29.
Yeah.
And God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding exceeding much, and largeness of heart, even as the sand that is on the seashore.
That's one of my favorite scriptures, man, because he gave him largeness of heart, right? That's not just the understanding of what is in front of you, like what meets your eye, right? What meets the eye, but also what guides you to that decision making a lot of times, right? A lot of times as husbands, those are the type of things we got to think about, right? How do I can fix this one issue in front of me, but if I want to be a better husband to my wife, guess what? I'm going to help fix her so she can start to see how she's dealing with that issue in a better way. You know what I'm saying? A problem isn't a problem. It's one of my things they say all the time, right? We're going through it. A problem isn't a problem. The problem is how you see and how you feel about the problem. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Go ahead. You
No,
Go back to 1 Corinthians.
I'm gonna turn that into old Azariah original right there. You know what I'm saying?
You're welcome. 1 Corinthians 9:25.
1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 25.
Yeah.
And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things.
Is temperate in all things. That's what a godly man looks like. A godly man is temperate in all things. How do you be temperate? It's going to take time for him to develop that. Right? It's going to take time for him to develop that, especially inside of a new marriage. When you first get married, you're going to be dealing with all type of new things. You didn't even know you had to put temperance in that area where now you got to have temperance. It was easy for me last week to just go get something to eat. Now I got to have temperance to figure out what we finna eat.
That's why this Bible is so important, right? In marriage, right? You can read all through the Bible how the Lord feels about marriage. Isaiah, like he takes it serious. Like he's married to Israel. You know what I'm saying? We're his bride. He's our groom.
Yep.
Right? So like when how you building yourself up as a young couple, right? In marriage, right? Psalms 19:7, right? Because you gotta dig in here. The answers is right here.
Yeah.
Like, so you gotta get in there, right? So you're new in marriage, and we'll just say you don't know really your left foot from your right foot. You're like a baby giraffe.
Like a baby, yeah.
Read that.
Psalms chapter 19 and verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
So if you got questions, you gotta dig into the Bible. The Bible says, you know what I'm saying, there's safety amongst counsel. You reach out to somebody that's been married, that's been through them trials and tribulations.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And the answer's there. And then you become wise in marriage.
But that go back to, again, Hebrews 13 and 16. Remember where it say, read that scripture again? Because what you just said was key. Right? Hebrews 13:16.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 16.
Yeah.
But to do good and to communicate, forget not.
Here it come.
For with such sacrifices.
What's the sacrifice in what you just said, right? The sacrifice would be, I want to talk to who I want to talk to, who I feel comfortable with. I don't want to talk to that married couple that's going to shoot me straight. I want to talk to the people that probably don't get along anyway, but I like them a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather talk to them about an issue and not really get the problem fixed because I'm just talking to who I like to talk to.
Like-minded. What's that about like-minded people be together?
Birds of a feather flock together?
Yeah, scripture like the same kind. Yeah. So they. I'll just use me for example.
Yep.
Young Gunner ain't gonna want to come talk to Azariah because he loud, he obnoxious, he gonna say something crazy.
Yep.
Right. I may be rude in speech, but not in knowledge.
Yep.
He'd rather go talk to somebody that's gonna tell smooth things.
Yep. Man, she is tripping, man.
Yup, man. I told you shouldn't marry. She wasn't shit anyway.
Yeah.
Well, what the
This
hell.
guy. He's taking all the way over there. But that's what they want. They rather talk to those people that gonna tell them what they want to hear instead of those people that's gonna tell them what they need to hear. What's gonna really help correct the issues that's going on inside of the marriage. They rather deal with those other people. You know what I'm saying? Hebrews 13:16 one time. I'll jump off of it.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 16.
Yeah.
But to do good and to communicate, forget not.
Yeah.
For with such sacrifices, God is well pleased.
God is well pleased. You communicating with those that you know got the right answer instead of the people that you most comfortable with. You talking to your mama and them. Your mama and them been divorced 3 times.
Don't talk to your mama now. You in the cult anyway.
You're in a cult anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Talking to the people you comfortable with instead of the ones that's going to really build you up properly in the scripture. Let's go to Genesis 18:19. Is that the one?
Genesis chapter 18 and verse 19.
Yeah.
For I know him, that he will command his children
Uh-huh.
and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken of him.
Read it one more time.
For I know him,
Uh-huh.
that he will command his children.
That's the part right there. That he will command his children. Go ahead.
And his household after him.
And his whole household. That's what a godly man looks like. He's going to take command of his household. It's not, a godly man is not the man that's in the back, up under and behind his wife's skirt. A godly man is not a, what they call it, a mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a godly man. A godly man is going to take command, take control, see a problem, and try to fix the problem. And that's where you go wrong. See, husband, that's where you go wrong. You see a problem, try to fix the problem. She just want to talk to you about the problem. You know what I'm saying? Just because I ask for water and I'm thirsty don't mean I want water. I just want you to sympathize that you have thirsted too.
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%.
That's what sisters want you to do, man. But a man is going to hear a problem and try to fix the problem. You know what I'm saying? If you want to call him and just vent and talk about a problem, you might want to forewarn him. Then he might not listen to you halfway through it. But you might want to warn him. I really don't want you to help me solve this problem. I just want to talk to you about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So underneath my sink was leaking,
Yeah.
right? And my wife told me it was leaking.
Yeah.
I didn't fix the problem. She didn't want me to fix the problem.
Yeah.
I had her fix the problem.
You had her get a pipe wrench and tighten it up.
She called a plumber, but
I know that guy.
if she's listening right now, she's steaming. Because that's a true story.
All right. Let's go.
Oh, man. I'm going to get it when I get home.
Oh man, but so the pillars we looking at when we looking at marriage, right, is God and love, right? So you gotta have God in the marriage, you gotta have love inside the marriage. But God is love, and how do you execute bringing God and love into the marriage? It's utilizing the scripture in actual real life. You know what I'm saying? When they say to communicate and it's going to take sacrifice, you're going to have to sacrifice through that resentment. You're going to have to sacrifice through that frustration that you might have. And guess what, brothers, sisters, it might not happen immediately, right? Sometimes inside of that communication, right, if I'm frustrated with you or my wife might be frustrated with me, I might not be able to ready to talk in that moment, but it don't mean we don't ever talk, right? It just might mean, hey, need a minute, right? We'll get to it. But sometimes you might have to give each other opportunity to calm down. You know what I'm saying? Inside of those things. You know what I'm saying? So don't forget to communicate when you are frustrated. If you need a minute, say, "Hey, I need a minute." And sisters, I know sisters are notorious for wanting answers immediately. I don't have an answer right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Give me a second. You know what I'm saying? See, that's how I knew you ain't know. You ain't. Listen, man. I need to process what you asking me for right now. I need to process what you might be frustrated about right now, and not get back to you. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm at. Oh, we talking about bringing God into God and love inside of the marriage. Let's go to Proverbs 31. All my sister's favorite. Everybody want to be a Proverbs 31 woman. This is what a godly woman looks like.
Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman?
Mm-hmm.
For her price is far above rubies.
Yep.
The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that she have no need of spoil.
You see that? Her husband trust her. Trust her with what? Trust her to make the right decision. Trust her not to, I don't know, poison him or something. I don't know what this is doing. You got to trust her. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to be trustworthy, though. How do you develop that trust inside of the marriage? How do you start to build it? How do you show them my mind is like your mind? My thoughts are like your thoughts, right? A lot of us men, like we just looked at, are natural problem solvers, right? So you're going to have to step out of what you might be. You might be an emotional responder, right? But men a lot of times are like linear responders. All I can do is speak to myself. I don't know. What about you?
You know, definitely a way to build trust is to fulfill your role. We just read it in 1 Corinthians 11, right?
Yep.
If you're not, and we read it in Genesis, right? When the devil caught Eve up, right? Because she wasn't wanting to do her role. So it definitely one way to start is understanding your role and fulfill that role to the best of your ability. If you was raised by your mama,
Yep.
and and you think this is the only way I know how to do things, well, you're not fulfilling your role, and your Lord's not going to trust you. Like, she want to wear my pants.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to fill her role. So the beginning of trust is like every team has positions.
Yep.
If you're on a football team, there's a quarterback, there's a
There you
center,
go.
there's a linebacker. If there's a basketball team, you got a guard, you got a shooting guard, you got
There
a
you go.
power forward, you got a shooting forward, you got a center.
Yep.
And then within the household, you got a team. You got God,
Mm-hmm.
Christ, man, woman, child. Now,
Yep.
if you want to act like a baby and be a child, you know, you're not fulfilling your role.
Not fulfilling your
Your
role.
Lord's not going to trust you.
Yep.
Like, man, I wonder what this old dingbat's doing at home.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa.
Dang.
If you want to be a simp and you don't want to lead your household, how's your wife going to trust you?
Right.
Like this old soft pudding, like, you know what I'm saying? He out there probably doing something crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So building a trust starts with fulfilling your role. Everybody can't be the head.
Everybody can't be the head. You're right. So you gotta develop trust inside of the marriage. And like you said, that's through fulfilling your role, fulfilling what it is in your position. And communicating those things up and down, right? If it's something that looks like this is not in my role, this is something outside of my role, have those communications. But a lot of times we like to think we just know, or the other person just know. You should just know. Why should I just know? I didn't grow up how you grew up, where you grew up at inside of your house. So I don't think how you think when you thought what you thought. I don't think like that. I don't know how you got that in your brain. Come on, let's read on.
Verse 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
All the days of her life. You're not supposed to do your husband evil, sisters. That's what it looks like to be a Proverbs 31 woman. How do you not do him evil? When you upset, you trying to withhold intimacy. That's doing him evil, right? Not whatever the standard might have been, right? When you set a standard inside of marriage, try to fulfill that standard, right? Honey, I need a lunch on this day, and this day. You know what I'm saying? But when you mad, I ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of stuff. Like, you supposed to do the right thing because of the communication that y'all shared, and you committed to the marriage. A lot of times it's hard sometimes when you're upset with the person to be committed to them, but commit to the marriage. Keep going.
Verse 13. She seeketh wool and flax and work it willingly with her hands.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't dress myself. You know what I'm saying? I say that all the time. I don't dress myself. Man, but we don't have to read all the way through this. But again, man, what it looks like to be a godly man, what it looks like to develop trust inside of a marriage, and these are some of the pillars that we can utilize to build our marriage and keep our marriage strong. So I'll stop there, man. It's been an hour. I'll stop right there. Did we have any questions or anything that I was supposed to go over? Any questions? Or
We
something?
ain't got no questions.
No.
No, we ain't got no questions. Can we go to verse 30?
Yeah, of course.
Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 30. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain.
So, you can have the finest chick, right? She could be fine as wine, fine as cat hair, like my stepfather used to say. You know what I'm saying? Boy, she fine as cat hair. That's what he said. He ain't with us no more. Go ahead, read.
But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised.
That's what you want, man. So if you got a woman in your household and she ain't cracking open this Bible every now and then, or at least asking you some questions, like I watched Bishop class, I wasn't sure, you see her writing down notes in the class. She playing her part, and you get home and she ain't got no questions. You know what I'm saying? You got to make time for these things. When I say lead your household, I'm just not talking about getting there and telling the kids what to do and paying bills. Mm-hmm. You got to lead them with this.
Lead by example.
Like right now, my man Jair is going over Tobit with his rib.
Oh man, just throw him under the bus. All praises.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be going over reading whatever, Matthew, Mark, John, Acts.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Talking about it.
Yep.
Because, like Cap always says, if you're reading the Bible and you ain't got no questions, you ain't reading the Bible.
Just reading.
Just reading.
Looking at words on a page.
I was just reading something earlier. I didn't know what that word was in the Bible. I had to read it. I was like, what the hell does that word mean? Yeah.
All praises. All praises.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you. It's nation time. And